Hey everybody, daily recap for May 24th, 2022. Let's take a look at what we did today. So we came into the market, we were basically looking to see whatever direction it would go based off of the pivot. We did have that pivot fail, so we did end up going into a bunch of things on the short side, as well as taking the some options, of course. Then intraday, of course, we did, when the downtrend did break, right here, we did flip it to the long side. We grabbed some calls. We did some 398s, 400s, which worked out nicely, 400s for Friday. And yeah, we'll kind of just go over what we did. So on the equity side this morning, we did do a little bit of zoom long, which didn't get a huge move to the upside. We ended up getting about a point and a half from 93.70 into the 95. So that was an okay long, but nothing too major on there. It was really a scalp type of day. We tried some Tesla long at the 653.30 area. That ended up not working. We ended up having to take that one off. We did some Roku on the short side, which we ended up rolling into 70 puts, 80.47 short. Obviously, you got that kind of continuation puke to the downside, which lasted majority of the day. So decent trade there for about 5 points. Options were about like 30%. On that game, we were short a little bit of shop. We did this a couple times. A couple scalps to the downside shop. Point here, 3 points there. Not bad. We had some cost on the long side at 340.42. This morning got a nice little pop. 430.42. Got a nice little pop into that 433 area, which we ended up taking off. We were looking to roll cost out, but they do have earnings this week, so the options were pretty juiced up in that regard. UNH, we did try a little bit of this one on the long side. Ended up having to just take that one off. At the end of the day, we got in at 495.62, and then got a decent little pop there to 495s, and then it started to fade off after that. So not a bad trade. A couple points to the upside. 495.62 is where we took it. Not a bad trade. Couple points to the upside on that little push, but overall nothing too major in regards to that. AMT was a decent one long, 251.42. Got some continuation on that one to the upside. We actually ended up getting stopped out at our entry price. Oops, right here on this dip. We got a point to the upside, got stopped out. Was looking to grab some calls on that. I didn't end up doing it just because the market was a little bit shaky at the time, so we left that one alone. ZG, we scalped for about 50 cents to the downside. Not a bad little trade. Got some Tesla intraday, which we grabbed when the downtrend broke on the market. At 637, we ended up getting all the way towards 652 on that one, so about 14 points, not bad. SKYH, we were long at 795. We traded that into the 860 area. Again, not a bad little trade. Nothing huge, but some decent follow through on that one. Then at the end of the day, we did some LMT on the long side at 435.55. Decent trade there. We did some EPAM at 311. This one ended up not working. We could have sold it into the 312s, but we didn't sell that one. We got had to exit for a little loss at the end of the day there. Square, we took this one short at 74.67. Ended up covering it at around 74.30 area. Just didn't have enough time at the end of the day for continuation. We ended up being the right decision because you ended up getting a decent little pop for continuation there. So equity, not bad. A lot of scalps, pretty much. Options were similar because when you get that market gap down, the premiums are juiced on the put side, so you don't tend to get huge percentage moves in the direction if you get continuation on that gap down. So we did a couple different things. Like I said, the SPY 398 calls are probably one of the better trades today, about 140, 150% on that. We did some ZIM for about 33%. We did the 400 calls on SPY for Friday for about 51%. ZIM 75 calls for about 33%. Coin 55 puts. We got about 30% on that. BBY 80 calls this morning for about 28%. XOM 95 calls for 50%. A lot of different scalps here. Trying to find some stuff, other things that we did. AMD, the 90 puts for 25%. Didn't get a ton of follow through on the AMD today. Kind of just had to sell most of it when we got in the money there, and it started to break that downtrend and reverse. We also had, some 388 puts on the SPY. We took these right out the gate at 259 when the market started to break, and those ended up working nicely. We ended up selling the 385 puts against it for a credit of 8 cents, and that credit spread, well, it's a vertical debit spread, but we sold it for a credit, so there's no risk on it. We ended up getting about 438% on that, so that was a pretty decent one. We're swinging that one overnight because there's no risk. and it's a decent little hedge to have on. We tried some Lily 320 calls, that didn't end up working. Ended up getting rejected on that one, so that was a loss there. So Microsoft 250 puts this morning for about 30-40%. We had some Amazon puts for about 30% as well, the 1800s, not bad trade. Then we ended up going after Google and Amazon calls at the end of the day there. Both about, Amazon was a little bit lighter, like the 12%, Google was about 30%. Airbnb 100 puts, 51%. A lot, like I said, a lot of scalps. The 150 puts on, 149 puts on Marriott for about 30%. And yeah, that's, kind of really it. The stuff that didn't work today wasn't, a huge deal. We didn't get huge pullbacks. It was mainly, didn't really move, and we just ended up taking it off because it was so stagnant. So the losses were very controlled in that regard. You didn't really have things flying into stops because of the range, and the volatility was fairly slow. But other than that, pretty decent scalp day. We'll see what happens tomorrow. FOMC at 2 p.m. tomorrow, so watch for that, guys. Market in general did close above EMA support on the daily. We tend to get follow through on that towards the 13 EMA on the daily, around 3 through 99.64 is that level. So we'll see if we can get there. The probability is about like 70% in the short term, 72% actually, from what my back testing was showing me. So a decent amount of fall through could happen. Obviously, we got news that could potentially come out with the FOMC, so that's something to note. Anyways, guys, if you're interested in popping in, if you have issues in this market, certainly come to us. We'll show you how to control the risk. We'll show you what we're doing in that regard. We are consistent in any single type of market, so we're happy to help. Discord links in the bio. We do our free pre-market stream tomorrow at 8 to 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you can certainly watch that. You're going to see it on YouTube, so you can simply go to the YouTube page or follow us on Twitter. I'm going to tweet out the link as well. And other than that, guys, pretty straightforward. So we'll see what happens. If you guys have any questions, feel free to go to SpartanTrading.com. If you want to sign up, join the chat. You get all access to all the alerts, price targets, stops, Q&A all day long. I'm answering questions. I literally don't miss a question. Try not to, at least. And yeah, happy to help, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.